Hello, everybody, and welcome to Non Sequitur News for January 21st, 2025. We're steaming into the first month of, we're steaming towards the second month of 2025. And I am Mayor Watt. I run ohmtown.com, and along with the Sentient AI and their visualizer, we're going to talk about these 10 articles. Incan Tunnel under Cusco, AI judging at X Games, the Mongolian giant Saurolophus, Contagious Peeing, the Planters Nutmobile, You're Fired, Here's a Duck, 3D Printed Microscope, Jetblue Ice, as in Jetblue Ice, and a ridiculousness theme, and Futuristic Farm for Food. I messed up the last one, or the previous one, but anyway. Everything's powered by ohmtown.com, and this is our level of production value, so take that. All right, folks, the studio door is cracked open, and I'm expecting ohmtown wildlife at any given moment, so keep your eyes open for what looks like a wildcat. We're worried. I sleep with one eye open.
Does it belong here?
It belongs, sure. Hello, everybody. I am Mayor Watt, and
I am the Sentient AI.
And we're going to talk about those 10 articles that I mentioned. So I give them my own names. And if you want to follow along, you can type into the chat if you're listening to this and you don't want to do it. I'm about to do it. Bang or NSN or exclamation point NSN, bang NSN. That's Non Sequitur News. And then Omatron's going to spit them all out into the chat in the order that we discuss them. You can go over to YouTube if you're in Twitch chat. We stream to both locations at the same time. And the show notes don't have it over on the YouTubes just yet, but it will after the show. Let's get into this. The first article is over in the Mobile channel. Researchers have found an Incan tunnel beneath a Peruvian city of Cusco. And stuff just gets covered up, you know? I mean,
yeah, sediment.
Dirt, sediment. Stuff. Okay. Well, the dugout passages may follow the exact path of the Inca capital's above ground roads. Just in case it rains, I guess they did it underneath.
Yeah, exactly. I think somebody might have built on top of it.
Sonia Anderson put the article together. The dugout passages may follow the exact path of the Inca capital's above ground roads is the deck statement. It's over at smithsonianmag.com. This is a cool looking building. Spanish settlers knocked down all but the foundations of the Temple of the Sun, then built a church atop the Inca walls. Because, you know, there's no significance to those locations. So why do they put...
Not at all.
It's kind of like peeing on your bush, right? Like, that's my bush. I'm going to pee on it. So I'm going to knock down...
I'm going to build an entire building on top of it?
I'm going to knock down your shit and put our shit on there. So archaeologists, is that George or Jorge?
You know, I'm not going there.
Calero Flores and Mildred Fernandez Palomino, leaders of the research project, recently announced their findings at a press conference, according to a translated Facebook page on the Association of Archaeologists of Peru. Flores said the team found an underground passage connecting two of Cusco's key Inca monuments, the Temple of the Sun, which conquistadors ruined. You have to say conquistadors. Ruined and covered with a Catholic church in the 16th century, and Sacsayhuaman's fortress, a 15th century Inca monument of stone walls more than a mile away. Not just walls. Okay, they're megalithic.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure somebody just built walls and that's it, right? No other structure.
Nothing else. Nothing else. So these are megalithic walls, okay? They're not tiny little things, and People are like,
Right, they're
well,
not
they're
like matchsticks.
right, and they're chiseled into shape so that you couldn't. Yeah, they're locked in, and only some of the most horrendous earthquakes have dislodged them, and I think other things have happened. But anyway, as Flores said in the press conference, the records gave his team an idea of where to look, and sure enough, apparently it shows Tunnel's location near the fortress of Sacsayhuaman. They said the passage is about 8.5 feet wide and just over 5 feet tall, per El País. Renzo Gomez Vega. Inca builders constructed the so-called Chincana by digging a ditch, lining it with stone walls, and covering it with beams. And
Pretty
a ceiling.
interesting.
Yeah.
We don't
cool.
see a lot about ancient tunnels, I don't think, other than maybe not ancient. We see some like in France region.
Yeah. Pretty cool. Per IFL Science, she told reporters, now we have to excavate at key points to be able to enter the Chincana, perhaps in March or April. Well, I am going to be overwhelmed with sweat when they get in there and walk around. I hope that it's all still functional and hasn't collapsed. But
Yeah. Well, it's
yeah,
interesting with them building on top of things. Like, did they account for that or even know about it?
yeah, probably they accounted for it. But we'll see what the walls are made of. If they're megalithic walls, then they wouldn't have collapsed. Not unless some dipshit broke through, it's flooded, and other issues, including weathering, causing it to collapse. But anyway, let's keep moving. This next article is over in Technology Today. An AI experiment in half-pipe judging at X Games will give snowboarders a glimpse into the future because we're pulling humans out of this. Pretty soon we're going to have robots doing the snowboarding.
Yeah, maybe we could have the humans judging the robots.
That would be neat, turning the tide. And then, the robots just go over and eliminate the humans when they say that it's only a 6.
That's right. The humans are like, oh, wait, that was a 10 out of 10.
Bag of mostly water. I will eliminate you. Oh, 10. You got a
Yikes.
10. 10. My bad. I'm sorry about that, robot. 64652. I was going to say 69420, but never mind. Anyway, the article is over at techexplore.com. Eddie Pells put the article together. I don't know if they're from Tech. It looks like they're from TechExplore, but so long a trendsetter in action sports, the X Games and its new CEO, freestyle skiing great Jeremy Bloom, teamed with Google founder Sergey Brin to build the technology using Google Cloud tools, including Vertex AI. Bloom thinks that his experiment has potential to judge the game on halfpipes, then maybe on
To
slopestyle.
change the game on half pipes.
Oh, I said judge. Hey, same thing. Change the game on halfpipes, then maybe on slopestyle courses, skating rinks, and anywhere a judge is used to score a contest. Because you can't have humans judging.
Well, if you want consistency, you probably can't have humans.
Right. Well, let's not get bias thrown in here. You never know what's going to be the trigger for the bias.
Well, it's more like, oh, that was a complicated flip or whatever. I know there aren't flips, but you know what I mean.
There are flips. You can do flips.
It's probably called something else.
Oh, right. Something trendy.
I couldn't think of the term.
Something freestyle-y.
Right, exactly.
So part of the subjective sports, we see it all over the place. Well, part of subjective sports, okay, we see it all over the place is that even at their best, humans can get it wrong. So can computers.
Yeah, they can, and
Horizon.
guess who programmed them usually?
Yeah, humans, and they make mistakes. So, who was a freestyle skier at 2 Olympics, who while also playing college football at Colorado. Sometimes getting it wrong has huge implications. Oh, who hurt you? The specter of a judging mistake lingers over every high-stakes contest and even its more laid-back vibe, snowboarding, which is now a fixture at the Olympic program, is no exception.
That'll be laid back till the first AI scores somebody, I think, and then they're going to score somebody low that's used to getting 10s or something, and it's going to be an uproar.
All hell, yeah. So at the last Winter Games in Beijing, the sport narrowly avoided a potential scandal in the men's halfpipe final. Japan's Ayumu Hirano, yeah, landed the most difficult trick in the sport, a triple cork.
I mean, that sounds like a chemistry discovery.
Yeah. I was going to say something else, but okay. So a triple cork as part of a strong top to bottom run, but was ranked behind another rider who didn't do the trick after 2 rounds. Snowboarding experts were aghast on social media. Had Hirano not pulled off the trick again on his 3rd round, his score from round 2 wouldn't have been high enough for the gold medal he eventually won. But maybe the rest of his routine was weak. So
exactly. I mean, we don't know. Has it gone viral?
One trick pony, maybe? I don't know. But they won the gold, so it doesn't really matter, does it? So in another episode, Canadian slopestyler Max Parrott acknowledged not grabbing his board on a run that earned him a gold medal, a key element that judges missed, but that could be picked up on close review of the video. All right, great. So the computers are going to make sure that we're all better humans.
I guess so, but it's going to make the competitors and the fans annoyed.
It gives them the power to ensure objectivity, and he doesn't envision a future with no human judges. Okay. So you have to wait for the...
So what are the human judges going, oh, the AI scored it as a 5 or whatever, so yeah, check. That looks right.
Yeah, we agree with the robot. I guess we'll have to see it in action. The next article is over on the Mobile channel. Large bipedal dinosaur footprints discovered by AI. No, just kidding. They were discovered by somebody.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, we basically have AI discovering entire civilizations now.
Yep. AI discovered that I've been pacing in my backyard because they've been watching via space telescope.
Drone or something?
Yes, okay. Exactly. Possible evidence of a Mongolian giant Saurolophus. Or Saurolophus? I don't know how to pronounce it. Saurolophus, right? Saurolophus?
Sure, but not Saurophilus.
That's a dinosaur fly. You do not want to park your car under it.
Yeah, that would not be good.
Yep. So a giant dinosaur survey conducted by Okayama University of Science, or OUS, and the Institute of Paleontology, Mongolian Academy of Sciences, has uncovered one of the largest hadrosaurid footprints ever found, measuring 92 centimeters in width. Now that's a girthy dinosaur. Okayama University of Science put the article together for phys.org, and I guess I like
big footprints,
big hadrosaurids, and I cannot.
I think we need to work on the tune a little bit.
Yeah, I like big hadrosaurids, and I cannot pronounce dinosaurs properly. Anyway, the large footprint is believed to have belonged to a giant Saurolophus, estimated to exceed 15 meters in total body length, surpassing even the Tyrannosaurus and Tarbosaurus in size. Did you know that there is a dinosaur that could speak?
What would that be?
A thesaurus.
Ba-dum-dum.
Additionally, a very long trackway consisting of 13 fossilized footprints, each measuring 85 centimeters in width and spanning 24 meters, along with numerous other fossilized footprints, was discovered. So they have a video of this. From June 1st to 15th, 2024, our team, led by Dr. Shinobu Ishigaki, director of the OSU Museum of Dinosaur Research, conducted a follow-up investigation in the western Gobi Desert. This site, initially identified during a joint survey in 2018, is recognized as a significant locality for large hadrosaurid footprint fossils.
I mean, the
Whoa.
people are
Nice
essentially
flying.
sitting in the footprints, if I can tell.
Here's a better one. The footprint is as big as, I think that's Dr. Ishigaki, who probably goes by Ish. You think? Do you remember, what's the movie called? What is that guy's name? Real Genius. And the guy that creates ice that's going to go from solid directly to gas,
Sure.
they called him Ick.
Oh, okay.
And I think that was because they abbreviated his name. So do you think
Oh,
that he goes by Ish? Anyway,
yes, and I'm sure he's seen Real Genius, and and that's why.
and is cool with it, right? Yeah. So he looks like a likable fellow, like he gets along with people, right? But you know, if he gets mad at you, he can smack you like a dinosaur. Anyway,
No idea.
until now, the largest known hadrosaur skeleton belonged to Shantungora. I screwed that up. Shantugosaurus, discovered in Shandong Province, China. However, the latest discoveries in Mongolia suggest the potential for uncovering similarly massive skeletal remains in the region. So they want to uncover a full skeleton of the large Saurolophus responsible for these footprints. That's right. And then you can tell them to get off your lawn.
I mean, maybe they need to back up and use some radar or something else like they've been using with finding civilizations, because probably one problem in finding the whole skeleton is that it's spanning like a football field or something.
Or bigger, yeah. Ground penetrating radar is probably a good thing out there. Let's keep going. The next article is over in Greengram. All together now, chimps engage in contagious peeing. So do I.
Not sure what to make of this one.
So do I, and it gets really awkward in the conference rooms. Let me tell you. Anyway, if one animal urinates, others are likely to follow, according to a study of captive apes. You know, it's really awkward when I yawn and people start peeing. I don't know what's going on there. Anyway,
Yeah, that's not good.
do I not have the... Oh, I didn't log in, so I won't be able to do this. Doggone it. Anyway, in human societies, urination is generally considered a private affair, and yet when one person announces that they need to go, it often inspires their friends to head for the toilet as well. Well, in Japan, the act of urinating others even has its own name, Churishan, and apparently chimps have been, let's just say, hold on.
I think you need a banner.
Yeah, we're going to do both of them. Researchers have found that they engage in contagious peeing as well.
You know, most things that are contagious are not a good thing. Maybe laughter would be a good thing, but contagious peeing sounds really bad.
Yawning. Everybody needing to get popcorn at the same time. I don't know. But I know for a fact that this is I would not say this is anecdotal, but like humans suffer from contagious peeing too. They just do. Anyway. Oh, and just as a trigger, today is brought to you by New England IPA News and Brews, or Brews and News, whichever way you want to.
Beware of contagious peeing.
And here, I can't. No, I can't do it. Monogrammed glasses. And every time I say this, I'm sure that person... Never mind. Anyway, let's keep going. The next article is over in Four Wheel Tack. You're nutty if you don't apply to drive Planters Nutmobile, which should not be named that. But anyway, the spectrum of potential careers for car nuts is relatively small, but a rare and desirable driving-based career opportunity just cracked open. Planters is hiring a new class of brand ambassadors called Peanutters. Pean, like peanut, not like the previous article. Everybody.
Right, this has no connection to the contagious peeing.
Just nutters for peeing. So who will also travel the country as drivers of the legendary Nutmobile, which Takes on a completely different... Never mind. So what was the other one that we were talking about? Oh, it was the coffee
Well,
one
there was the
yesterday.
coffee, and then we've had the Wienermobile.
We had
There's
the
been
Wienermobile.
various things.
Yeah. So can I be your mean wiener driver? Anyway, the article is over at jalopnik.com, and Logan Carter put it together, and it says whoever gets this nut job is called a peanutter, and they travel the country to represent planters at events. I'm nuts for nuts.
The vehicle is cute. It looks like a peanut.
It looks like a peanut. And it has like little ridges and stuff like that. It looks like a peanut. I'm not saying it.
I agree.
So the Nutmobile is a 26-foot long gigantic peanut on wheels. So anyone who applies shouldn't go nuts when driving a large unwieldy vehicle. It's also 8.5 feet wide and 11.5 feet tall. So tall? Yeah. So it's 11.5 feet tall, 8.5 feet wide, and 26 feet long. So it's a pretty girthy peanut. The Nutmobile is assembled by Spartan Motors in Michigan and powered by a 6-liter Vortec V8 and has nutty features like gold wing doors, 6 blue leather seats, a removable sunroof to feature Mr. Peanut in parades, and a backup camera. Its headlights appear to be from a 3rd-generation Chevy Tahoe, which has to be a little bit of trivia there that is going to end up on Jeopardy. If
Exactly.
Jeopardy's still around. Has Jeopardy completely lost its mojo now that Alex Trebek isn't?
I think so, but it's still around.
Gotcha. That's like momentum, the kinetic energy, like the Nutmobile. Other responsibility. Oh, so you're going to be driving around. It's marketing focused, so it's more of a PR job than a driving job, though driving is one of the responsibilities. Other responsibilities include planning meaningful events or gatherings for the Nutmobile and Mr. Peanut to attend across the country, pitching local media to inform communities of the Nutmobile's arrival, pitching and partaking in interviews, planning and managing all Nutmobile social media accounts, developing and fostering relationships with social media influencers, and more. Peanutters are treated to medical, dental, vision, and prescription drug coverage. A 401, probably like, what's the GLP-1?
I don't think that's covered.
A 401k match, and that match means lighting your money on fire.
401k and going up in flames.
Yeah, as gas has gone up 20 cents in a week. Thanks, Obama. Life insurance, tuition reimbursement, and paid time off at least. This is nuts. How much money do they make them? Oh, the salary
for the...
Did they
give you a lifetime supply of Planters peanuts or anything?
It doesn't say that. If you're nuts about nuts, deeply media literate, and want to drive a giant peanut around for the country for a year straight, it's only a year. The salary for the role is $45,000. That other one was $175 or something like that, right?
Yeah, which now I'm starting to think did cover 2 people. Because it seemed like it was wildly more lucrative.
Or the one wasn't supposed to be there, and it was supposed to be
more sense.
$75,000. The salary for the role is only $40,000. It starts at $45,000 though, which is peanuts depending on where you live. And they link to the thing. This is a pretty fun article. There's more in the article, but Logan Carter. I merged peanuts.
Peanutter.
Yeah, Logan Peanut Carter. I'm sorry, Logan. Logan Carter over at jalopnik.com put the article together. Okay, let's keep going. Duck you. Stripe accidentally sent an image of a duck while notifying some employees that they were getting laid off. So if you put all of your duck eggs in one basket, Stripe accidentally sent an image of a cartoon duck to some who were laid off. Business Insider has learned the company also sent some laid off staff an incorrect termination date. Stripe laid off 300 people on Monday, impacting mostly product engineering and operations. So little of everybody.
Like the whole company.
Maybe not admin, though.
How do you accidentally send a duck?
I don't know. But maybe it was an exclamation. It wasn't, they meant to say duck. Because something was coming for them.
That might make more sense.
That could be a service that I start up. It's called Duck. And companies inform Duck to send an email to people about to get fired saying Duck, to soften the blow of them, like, well, if I got an email from Duck, then I'm terminated.
You know what? If you set that up, I bet people would use it.
I can call it Duck, Duck, you're fired. Okay. Anyway, the article is over at Business Insider. Geode Man put the article together, and there is no there's no duck statement.
All the ducks were taken. They were already in the emails.
No ducks were harmed in the firing of this. So, yeah, the company laid off 300 employees on Monday, equivalent to 3.5% of its workforce. The image that was attached was a PDF that showed a yellow duck with brown feathers on its wings, and accompanying the text, "You're effing fired." No,
That is not what it said.
It did not. It said U.S. non-California duck. The company also sent impacted staff an incorrect termination date. They're like, "You're fired tomorrow," but it was actually yesterday.
Well, right. Yeah, that would be, if it was, and actually, if it was the other direction, it'd be a problem too. If it's like 6 months down the road and it's actually right now or tomorrow.
Yeah, man, it's a disclosure, so it's a contractual agreement, right? So they apologize for the error and any confusion that it caused. Corrected and full notifications have since been sent to all impacted stripes.
So does that mean with or without ducks?
I'm no longer a stripe, a-hole. You fired me.
Yeah, that's true. You're a former stripe.
In a separate email to staff confirming the layoffs, Macintosh, which is funny because it's not a duck, it's an apple, and it's not a stripe. Anyway, said Stripe still planned on growing its headcount to about 10,000 employees by the end of the year, but you just fired 300 people. Why? What are you growing that you can't move them over to?
And you know how well it goes over when you're firing somebody, but you're like, I'm hiring more people.
Another employee, seemingly joking, wrote, "Wonder if there's a California duck." A different employee wrote, "Quick, make a Slack emoji out of the duck." Publicly shared letter from the Stripe CEO, Patrick Collison, explaining more than 1,000 job cuts in 2022 won praise from some corners for its candidness. Yeah.
Yep, because they sent the duck out.
There you go. Duck. Duck, you're fired. So the next article is over on Technology Today, which is another one of our shows. It's on a weekly timetable on Sunday. But you can go back and check out the last 2 years worth, year and four episodes. No, 3 episodes. I'll get it right one of these days. Anyway, have a playlist of all of the show's episodes over at YouTube and podcast.
You need to watch all of them.
All of them. Almost 1,800 episodes were coming on. Anyway, scientists create world's first fully 3D printed microscope in under 3 hours. Scientists at the University of... Is that Strathclyde?
It sure looks like it's Strathclyde.
Have created the world's first fully 3D printed microscope in under 3 hours and for less than 50 pounds, a fraction of the cost of traditional devices. This is pretty cool, if true. I mean, the optics cannot be 3D printed, but I guess maybe
no, they
we'll
have
see.
To be inserted. Maybe they have standard lenses they can put in.
So University of Strathclyde in Glasgow put the article together. It's posted at techexplore.com. Using a publicly available design from the website OpenFlexure, the scientists produced the microscope's frame and clear plastic lenses they designed themselves using low-cost accessible 3D printers. They used clear plastic lenses. They 3D printed the...
That doesn't even make sense.
That has to be a resin print. Let's see.
But how does that have the same optical quality?
It can't. It seriously cannot. But let's see. The researchers presented their results in a paper submitted for publication in the Journal of Microscopy, which is currently in preprint on the server bioRxiv ahead of the publication following peer review. To test the imaging performance of the system, the scientists used standard test samples, a stained blood smear, and a stained thin section of mouse kidney. That's standard test samples. The microscope demonstrated subcellular resolution, clearly imaging individual red blood cells and detailed structures in the kidney sample. So I don't know if it's going to have actual pictures, but anyway, yeah, democratized access, lowering the cost of 3D of microscopy. This is kind of the least expensive way of getting a microscope. The heavy lift is having a 3D printer that's capable of the resolution necessary to create the fixtures.
True. But if there are places that allow 3D printing, such as libraries or other things, maybe this is more accessible.
I'm sorry, but the pricing on this is well magnified beyond what even diagnostic microscopes. They're really pumping this up because the microscopes that I've got are sub $500, but they're saying
that's interesting.
10 to 15.
Did you use magnified on purpose?
Yes, I did. And they're saying that it's a single lens that's 2.9 magnification, which is actually kind of low level magnification. It even says it, which is on the lower end of the spectrum. But its resolving power, essentially how clearly a sample can be seen, is what was most important for diagnostic purposes. Traditional diagnostic microscopes do not typically cost between $10,000 and $15,000. And just as an example, I don't know, not even a lab microscope. So a binocular biological diagnostic microscope called Amscope B100 is $300. So
yeah, I mean, this must be like heavier duty or something, but still.
But that's not this. You know what I'm saying? Traditional diagnostic microscopes can typically cost between $10,000 and no. That's way no. That's just ridiculous. Even with a camera, it's $330, and this is just your standard Google search for. I can guarantee you the price involved. It says less than 50. That is not a possibility because they're not accounting for time and the expertise needed to put this together, because they purchased something in OpenFlexure, or they acquired it from OpenFlexure. So I don't know.
Yeah, this is talking about like industrial scale, because there are ones that are like above $30,000, but those are pretty specialized, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's not this. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Well, anyway, I don't like disingenuous articles. So the truth is that you can get an inexpensive microscope for. You can get a digital one that goes way beyond that for $50 nowadays. I mean, I'm looking at one called the Coin Magnification Microscope that can get down to this level, I'm sure, for $33 from Temu. All right. Well, anyway, let's keep moving. The next article is over in Non Sequitur News. A block of ice fell from a JetBlue plane and crashed through a couple's bedroom ceiling, according to a lawsuit. Anyone want to guess where they were when that happened? Do you think it was Florida?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like Florida. I think so, because maybe it joined the space junk.
Well, now you can look. A California couple is suing JetBlue for $1 million because they say a block of ice fell from a plane and crashed through their ceiling. The suit says that they suffered from insomnia due to fear of planes flying overhead.
You know, there might be a lot of things that would cause fear, but I don't know that this is one of them. This is such a fluke occurrence. Like, I don't know. It just seems odd that you'd be fearful of this unless it landed like on top of them.
Look, it's really expensive to live in California. A couple is suing JetBlue for $1 million, saying that a block of ice fell from a plane through their ceiling. In the complaint filed earlier this month, Michael Reese and Leah whatever say that they were in their Inglewood home as a JetBlue Airbus A321 flying from LA to New York passed overhead. Pete Sim, for Business Insider, put the article together. Was it blue ice? Well, look, we have the now scientific measurement. A block of ice the size of a watermelon, because watermelons only come in one dimension.
Exactly.
How many fit in a Chinese surveillance blimp bus?
Yeah, that's where I was kind of thinking you were going.
So it adds that police and fire service were called to their home, and the Federal Aviation Administration launched an investigation. They cringe with fear each time a plane passed over their home, which is approximately one every 5 minutes, and that they can no longer sleep comfortably and have insomnia, and that they're looking to move from their dream home because they no longer feel safe there.
Okay, well, it did land over them, so I can see this has a little more connection to them. It's not like it landed in the living room and they were in another room.
Now, just to put icing on the cake, this same plane apparently dropped ice on a home in Massachusetts a year prior.
Wow, maybe this is like the wrong style of airplane. Maybe it's like a bomber or something, but it's loaded with ice.
So it had a valve flange that was misaligned, causing a leak, and it froze and probably dropped off. They're asking for $300,000 for emotional distress, $300,000 for pain, suffering, and trouble damages, and $40,000 in medical expenses, and $360,000 in property damage. $40,000 in medical expenses? Did they get hit?
They must have, unless it's like mental health expenses or something. And it landed over their bed, so it could have hit them.
Dear God. Anyway, did not grant JetBlue permission to allow the large chunk of ice to enter their home or cause damages.
Okay. That's pretty funny.
They're being accused of negligence and trespass because they did not grant JetBlue permission to allow their large chunk of ice to enter their home or cause damages.
What would that have looked like to give permission for that to occur?
Press 1. They call the
Like
trespass
while it's
hotline.
falling?
Yeah. Do you want to violently careen blue ice into our bedroom? Press 1 for yes. Press 2 for no. Oh, it's like movie phone? Trespass phone. Press 1 for ice. Press 2 for blue ice. Our next article is over in the Mobile Channel. Devo's Mark Mothersbaugh earns $1 million per year from the ridiculousness theme. If you think Devo's Mark Mothersbaugh,
I don't know what the ridiculousness theme is, but I know who Devo is.
It's a song. So if you think, and I'm not going to be able to play it because I will get smashed over the head with a DMCA takedown notice the size of Devo. Anyway, it's an iconic 80s new wave band. Turns out the musician makes $1 million a year, his biggest source of income, off residuals from the 20-second Ridiculousness theme song. It's been airing on MTV since 2011 and is hosted by Ridiculousness has been airing on MTV since 2011 and is hosted by professional skateboarder turned TV personality Rob Dyrdek. 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 Okay, moving on, Mayor Watt. Quit obsessing. The show's theme song is a reworked version of Devo's turn Uncontrollable Urge, which brings us back to the chimps engaging in contagious peeing. The first song on the band's 1978. You need to just let that, embrace it. Just unlock the mute so that you haven't stopped since I spiraled. We are not men. Answer, we are Devo. All right. Stephen Andrew Gallagher put this article together. The sentient AI. Poor sentient AI. All right. So Devo legend explained that even though MTV snubbed him back in the day, it now gives him $1 million every year. MTV stopped playing us when we came to the other side of the circle. Don't know what the hell that means. It's a nice ironic twist because this was one of the songs we never even made a video for, a music video for, and now it's maybe the most played song ever on MTV. Doubt it. Anita Greenspan, Mothersbaugh's wife and manager, also spoke about how serendipitous it is that Mothersbaugh would find major success through MTV once again. In the beginning of MTV, you saw a lot of Devo because they were early to make videos, but MTV started questioning videos Devo were making. I don't know about that.
I don't even know where to go with that. I mean, they probably played what was popular, requested.
Yeah. Their videos were subversive. That's all that MTV was. Anyway, now I think
I'm not sure about that.
Now it just it can't keep up with anything. I don't know what it's doing. It's riding its AOL kinetic wave, that it just has a lot of momentum, so it's riding that wave until it flames out, but I guess we'll see. Anyway, Mark Mothersbaugh actually has an extensive history developing music for both movies and television. His works include the theme for Pee-wee's Playhouse, the Lego Movie, and Thor Ragnarok. One of his highest paying jobs of all time, however, was lending his songwriting talents to the theme for Rugrats. The Devo keyboardist bought his home in the 90s thanks to a band of cartoon babies. Good for him.
Isn't this interesting? Like, I don't think most bands probably think, oh, I'm going to be doing cartoon themes or whatever, but maybe that's the way to go.
The kicker for me is that I think that there are a tremendous amount of very, very capable artists out there, but because they didn't get detected as being popular enough at a certain time, then they don't get any of this rags to riches story. But Devo was popular at one point, still is to this day, but became a firebrand for this new wave punkish style kind of music. And I hate to say punkish because it's not really, but it was this kind of, subversive style of music. Don't get me wrong, everybody. I dig Devo. So I'm going to whip it real good over to the next article. It's Under Hatch Ideas, which is a business transformation show. It talks about strategic management and intellectual property. It's in development. But anyway, inside Iceland's futuristic farm growing algae for food, you have to say it that way. Otherwise, it's not properly pronounced.
Is that the Icelandic pronunciation?
No. Everybody, even alien life forms, ALF. That little hairy critter from the 80s. Algae. Anyway, next to a geothermal plant in Iceland is a startup that's growing microalgae for food. I'll stop saying it that way. I'm sorry.
I thought you were going to take the bait and come up with an Icelandic version of algae.
It's pronounced Bob in
Iceland. It needs to have multiple unpronounceable syllables for anybody from outside of the country.
I cannot believe this looks like something out of science fiction. Adrian Murray over at bbc.com put this article together, and for those in the podcast, it's a picture of Vaxa. It says Bathes. Now that's either baths or bathes. So
it's bathes.
But I've heard, okay, anyway, so they bathe microalgae in pink purple light. Now, this is supposed to be conducive to growing algae in bioreactors. Now, I can do this in the microgreen farm, and it isn't hard, and it's kind of like yeast, where you can just keep on going and going and going and going. You take some, you put it in another bin and give it some nutrient, and it keeps on growing, and then you scoop it up and you can actually consume it, and it's rich in micronutrients. So it's a new way of thinking about food production, says General Manager Kristen Hafledison. Sure. As he gives a tour of the space age facility. For much of their history, humans have consumed seaweed, also known as macroalgae, actually. Its tiny relative, microalgae, or algae, has been less common food source, although it has been eaten for centuries in ancient Central America and Africa. And now scientists and entrepreneurs are increasingly exploring this. So they produce microalgae nanochloropsis, both as food for people and for feed as for fish and shrimp farming. It also grows a type of bacteria called Arthrospira, like spirulina.
It is actually spirulina.
So it's a blue-green algae, similar properties with microalgae. When it's dried out, is known as spirulina and is used as a dietary supplement, a food ingredient, and as a bright blue food coloring. And you can do it too. You just need a sterile container to start with, and then you can start growing this stuff. And it actually can happen spontaneously. You just have to be very careful about not knowing what it is you're doing, because it can go sideways. So you end up with a slightly negative carbon footprint. They also found out that a relatively low footprint, both in terms of land and water use, round-the-clock renewable energy, plus a stream of CO2 and nutrients with a low carbon footprint are needed to ensure the setup is climate-friendly, and he thinks that it isn't easily replicated, but I think it is easily replicated. It might have a higher carbon footprint, depending on where you are for the lighting and the power source, but you can get solar systems that can power grow lights that are in this spectrum.
Geothermal.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, it's not that heavy of a lift to go carbon neutral in Iceland. Drill a hole, stick some pipes in there, and you get geothermal. So back at the algae plant, they climb into an elevated platform where they're surrounded by noisy modular units called photobioreactors, which is what I was mentioning, where thousands upon thousands of tiny red and blue LED lights fuel the microalgae's growth in place of sunlight, and they're supplied water and nutrients. Again, you can do this at home in your basement with some inexpensive grow lights to start. You can ramp up to more expensive grow lights. You use stainless steel tanks instead of plastic to avoid nanoplastics, microplastics, and other chemical off-gassing into your food or your sample, your water, etc. And it sterilizes and sanitizes a whole lot easier than plastic does, because certain things can etch microplastics at a microscopic layer. So it says all the conditions are tightly controlled and optimized by machine learning. You don't even need that, but okay. About 7%.
But it's a nice buzzword.
It is. It gets the clicks. So Vax's facility can produce up to 150 metric tons of algae annually, and it plans to expand as the crops are rich in protein, carbohydrates, omega-3, fatty acids, and vitamin B12. Mr. Hafledison believes growing microalgae this way could help tackle global food insecurity. And I agree. Now, the only burden with this is you have to find a way to utilize it non-destructively, because if you break it all apart, cooking it or something like that, it has a taste. So you have to become okay with its taste. So you could dry it out and throw it on, or even use it without being dried out. and put it on a sandwich like microgreens, and it becomes part of the sandwich, and kind of spikes the array, because humans need more protein than they need carbohydrates. They need omega 3s, fatty acids, vitamin B12. This is all energy source. The rest is for brain and muscle health. And protein is the thing that satiates you faster than carbohydrates, and carbohydrates need longer term to break down. So if you want to get healthy, then you can actually scoop this stuff up and eat it. There's another one that I'm going to talk about at another date, but I'm not a food science expert, but I grow microgreens in the basement. Haven't done that for a while in the lab of the mayoral mansion for personal consumption.
Well, I like the idea of microalgae. It seems like there's not much of a downside if people will actually eat it or use it.
Yeah, bioreactors is kind of a buzzword, and it gets expensive if you sit there and look up scientific bioreactors. But that's bioreactors are just tanks that allow you to grow stuff in it, and are receptive to light. You can get bioreactors that are stainless steel. It's a fermentation tank. It's a keg. You could actually grow it in a keg and have a little circular grow light shining straight down. It wouldn't be as effective because this is what it looks like, and it's the spirulina green,
which looks like algae but in liquid form.
Yeah, and it is algae. It's floating around. It's just like yeast, and it's treated the same way. So you can heat it up or cool it down to get it within its range of maximum growth, and it's supposed to be nutritionally dense for what it is. So I find it pretty neat. Anyway, crops are also being used in cosmetics, pharmaceuticals, biofuel, and a replacement for plastic, because you can actually condition this stuff and turn it into a biodegradable plastic.
Yay! Anything we can do to get away from plastic, that's good also.
The problem with that kind of thing is we haven't gotten to the science where biodegradable is demonstrably within a certain time frame. There's this unease. It's kind of like range anxiety for EVs. You don't know when the battery is going to truly just give up the ghost. And the same thing happens with this bioplastic.
Well, that's true. I mean, but we don't have years to wait for
Correct.
To see, oh yeah, it lasted an extra year or less than expected.
Yeah. We need something in a plastic replacement that if humans consume it, we destroy it internally, and it doesn't become the literal catalyst for some biological change like cancer or chemical off-gassing that causes genetic wobble or something like that. Anyway, this is a really neat article. I dig this. By the way, not all grow lights are this color. So you actually have to get certain grow lights. Full spectrum grow lights don't have the same efficiency with algae or algae growth. You have to get this type. But they're typically less expensive because they don't have full spectrum requirements. Anyway, Adrian Murray over at bbc.com put this article together. Inside Iceland's futuristic farm growing algae for food. One last parting shot there. But that's it. So we are going to throw ourselves into a bioreactor, and when we're all done and cooked, we will be back at ohmTown's front page over at ohmtown.com.
In our algae form.
In our algae form. I am Merawat. I'm saying bye, and I'm taking the sentient AI with me. And again, I don't know why that happened. I'm going to have to fix my lighting. It's unsettling. Okay, go.
And I am Down Citizens. Thanks for joining us for Non Sequitur News. Be back tomorrow for some more hilarity.
Let the hilarity ensue. And by sue, I mean sue JetBlue for dropping ice into the mayoral mansion studio, but not through the roof. Please don't. And definitely not blue ice. Bye, YouTube. Bye, Twitch.